Good evening. This is Ken Long from Tortoise Capital with the daily debriefing for May 10th, 2016. Excuse me. All right, so today we had a decisive move up through the Dragon. We're up into the upper half of the river, testing the northern edge of the river. Slope of the 10 is still down. Slope of the 30 remains slightly up. As you can see here, the dotted line is the zero line for the regression line 30 slope. So still holding on to the bull by the skin of our teeth. Upper target remains at 212. Support at 203, which is at the Z minus 2. And really so far the RL30 and the RL10 channels are holding support just above that level. And we've moved halfway back up the channel, a couple percent off the top. Move from oversold, approaching overbought. The jaws of PPO, which had been open to the downside, are starting to close. So this was favorable. We'll see if we get any kind of recovery and momentum through here. We're getting ready to test the top of the hump of the Dragon here. That would be favorable. Price through 209 would, I think, take us to 212 to test that top once more. We've had a couple tests of it already. It's been rejected each time. Longer term, I still don't see any relief from political shenanigans, and my expectation is that this ceiling at 212 holds. I think that we're more likely to see that between now and November as a trading range. But for right now, there's some undeniable momentum of the last 3 days that's got to be addressed, and it's providing some opportunities intraday for us. The theme of the day in the chat room was preparation, and the metaphor was the idea of Roman roads. This is the opposite of amazing. Roman roads are not amazing. Roman roads are engineering and preparation and endurance and persistence and commitment, making them one brick at a time and last for 2,500 years. And on the basis of the Roman road, the empire was possible. So its preparation leads to performance. It's not inaccessible. It's simply good design and persistence and stick-to-itiveness. Knowing your business. That was today's theme. Here's one from Ashe with the a hybrid frog entry, it looks like, and caching 0.63, a pocket reentry. I think this may be a little slow, but I'm not offended by this. I think the exit may be a little quick on the trigger, especially with the rising VWAP and the southern side of the Dragon right here. May be quick on the trigger, and then a reversal pocket. I don't mind that. It's an owl entry. The only thing I'm concerned about with is shorting into a rising VWAP and a rising river. Just got to be quick on the trigger like he was here. I think that was fine to take that shot, because we're really thinking about going back to test the opening when we do that. However, when you're shorting into that rising tide, you got to be quick like he was. The other thing that I want you to notice is that many of these starting positions that we get in the pockets and the owls, they're like a wheel that's spinning, that's trying to get traction, and you're not sure ahead of time which one is going to be the one that takes off and gets the traction, digs in, and allows you to take off. And so Ashe's note to himself, got to keep swinging, taking these signals, because he's leaving a lot on the table. After 3 shots, and grinding out some wins, some net wins. We missed the about 1.5 R to the upside potential. So we've got to be trading at a level in which these are just like poker hands, where we ante up when we see our cards and we play the cards we get, and you keep taking hands. You can't have a rule that says I'm only going to ante up on hands where I'm going to get good cards. It doesn't work that way. So we've got to be able to trade at a level and a frequency that allows us to stay in the game, so that when the wheels do get traction, it takes off, then we're prepared to play them properly. This is an owl stop, it looks like, or an owl entry. Going short. Again, into a rising RL270. And the first one I don't have a problem with. The second effort at going short, what we've got to recognize is that we're going against the tide of the VWAP and the rising river and the rising dragon, and you've got to be quick to quick to stop this, and then play the reverse so that you're in line with where it wants to go. You got to trade with the river. This is Eric's work, one of our Euros. Doing a great job in the day trading workshop online. The entire European team is really performing at a very high level, and even in a few short weeks, he's put together what I consider to be an outstanding trading script, a one-page template for what it is that he's going to do today, based on preparation and getting his mind right and having his objectives and his time frames and his affirmative statements of what he's going to do. And then a trading schedule that reflects time of day, targets, what his key indicators are for R and for sigmas, and the patterns he's going to trade, and that reflects different available patterns and systems based on time of day, and then how he's going to manage his stops and exits. And so I just think, and a span of control of 2. And so I really think this is a terrific integration of a lot of material, and you're going to see some results that really bear out the importance of preparation, like the Roman roads. The preparation is what endures. Here's one, I think, yeah, this is Sonal getting short here on a Z3PC. So we have a very tight channel. It touches one end of the channel, starts to roll over as she gets short, and cashes at Z2 on the far side right after it tested Z3. Terrific. 2R. And now I want to start thinking about how we get the trades from the side of the channel to the side of the channel. If you look closely in here, there's an owl pattern right here that comes up and tests Z3. So let's stay engaged with it. This is not amazing. This is what's supposed to happen. And so when it's not amazing, we can continue to take trades. If we feel like it was amazing, we've got to process that positive energy so we don't spin out of control. But a terrific shot here for a couple R. And now let's see how the very move that was an excellent trade sets the conditions for a cross to the other side of the channel from Z3 to Z3 in a big fat index. Yolanda has done some really nice work here with her preparation. And one of the things that having a language of patterns and descriptions allows us to do is to turn a lot of information, a lot of fog of war, into actionable patterns that are manageable. What she's noticed here is that she's bracketed the opening and has a hybrid frog long and short entry, and then she notices that her Z3s, the Z3 lines, have pinched inside of the hybrid frogs, and so she's stalking and framing some trades as a function of a Z3 breakout. Not that she's going to take these trades, but what she's done is recognizes that there is a very special moment of compressed volatility here that may allow for some good trading later. Later on that morning, she does take this trade, and I want you to notice this is the Dragon Rising pattern. She's noticed a condition 1, a swing low in the Dragon, a swing high, a higher swing low, and so she draws the line from 2 from the hump of the Dragon across, and this coincides with the breakout from the river, and she nails 0.3. Now what I would say on the exit, especially in the DAX, when you get a move from a very tightly squeezed river to a well beyond Z3, almost Z4, that somewhere in here there might be a time value of money exit, like a 1 to 3 trade in here that might give you double the return in half the time, rather than waiting for the full retracement across the dragon. But what a terrific entry. And just beginning the move up as we see the RL 270 just now beginning to slope up and the VWAP starting to slope up. And so there may be over here an opportunity for a pocket reentry. Inspired by Yolanda's preparation, Eric, whose trading script we saw, was prepared for this tight trade here in the DAX, that when it collapsed he was able to get the Z3PO breakdown, or a collapsing dragon. And notice when support collapses, you get gravity in effect. What a terrific entry through preparation and an excellent exit right here at about probably a Z3 excursion, which then later retraced. So capturing it while it's hot. Well done. Bob has shown us an owl pattern stalk on the daily charts in Apple, and you'll notice there is on the front side of this slope there's an owl entry right in here, and never tests the Z2 stop. And then we get an owl entry on the short side down here, and some real red Niagaras with some painful moves, which then failed to fail further. And he's noticing the unambiguous move, the RLCO about ready to happen outside the river, and you can see a couple more days and this RL10 is going to cross the dragon for condition 3 out of 5 of the setups of the owl. And so a retracement at least back to this price level, up to about 100, is certainly in the cards. So looking out at a higher time frame. Here's one gap up, a sell-off to a hybrid frog, a minus 0.9R. Note now I want you to notice the conditions for an owl trade and a chain trade out of the hybrid. That this short in here with the Z2 stop, and then a cash somewhere in here as the RL10 bottoms out at an expected support level. When you see this, you draw this line over from the belly of the dragon over into here, and if you catch this short, this one is one where you've got to be prepared to just lock in a Z-2 excursion, because you get this a close, gap up, and a roll over. You've got to be able to cash that and see that as a known support level and not let this retrace too much against you. This is a hybrid frog short, covered for a 1-hour loss. Now we've got to be able to get these on the stop and reverses, especially when it takes out this hump of the dragon. This would not have been an owl short because the RL30 was still up. So taking this here, this is a very good entry in the pocket. This is that continuation, 1, 2, 3, and now you draw the line from across the dragon hump and you have a pocket in here. Very nicely done. I think that's a reasonable profit preservation, and this also looks to me like a re-entry moment is possible here too. The intuition, the note from the trader was the intuition was to cash here at a Z3 excursion. Short is a terrific short, and a 2 bar gift to Z3. Yeah, so we gave back some. I like the short. I think somewhere in here we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 moments where it failed to fail further, and we're starting to see the RL10 roll over. I would like to see this cashed in here somewhere before we get final confirmation. I would like to stay in the money, even though it's a fractional. That might be a 0.3 or 4 if you can get that. And then this becomes a perfect owl entry, and then a pocket re-entry. If this got you out, it might. then the pocket reentry, we've got to get this. This is chain trading here. You know, the hybrid frog, the continuation pocket, the owl reversal. We've got to start chaining these together. Really nice one from Sonal. This is win on a hybrid frog. Excellent cash. This time on the near side of the dragon skin instead of waiting for full confirmation, which would have cut almost half of that win out. But by the same token, I would like to see an earlier entry on the continuation pocket trade down in here. Now, if I can get this entry 1 or 2 bars earlier, then even this action, which I think lasts too long, becomes a fractional win instead of a fractional loss. Terrific re-entry right here. This is nice. And we'll see some more of this trade in a little bit. So just looking for micro improvements, earlier entry, maybe an earlier exit in here. I might want maybe 1 or 2 bars earlier to make a fractional improvement. Oh, and this was the markup in the coaching, that the blue circles to me looked like areas in which micro improvements might be made on the entry and then on the exit to turn this negative trade into a fractional win. But main point is I like the take on the shot here, and I love the re-entry. From her original trade, she noticed that this re-entry that I just spoke so highly of, when it unfolds and works, up in here where she takes her exit is right at the 2R battle drill from the first trade. And so that's why I really love that re-entry. And a nicely played profit preservation. It had 5 bars to continue that move. It didn't, and so I don't mind that locking in the profit at all. Here is an owl short. This might be a bar late. I think maybe somewhere in here, but still this isn't bad. Now, one of the things that Gil was working on today was this idea that he felt like this was a waste of time and money. I don't think it's a waste of money or time, but if you don't want to stay in there that long, we talked it through and said, look, you've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bars in which we had opportunities to fail back to the RL270 and back to the VWAP, and that's why this is a good shot. You know, you've got a nice owl, and if this thing works, it should be coming down here, but it didn't. It went sideways for 6 or 7. So instead of holding this all the way down and gritting your teeth, and he ends up taking the exit over in here, maybe the first RLXD cross is enough. Maybe taking out the high of this bar here, maybe that's enough, and then this looks more like a scratch, and now the money is returned to you. This also looks like if you had gotten out and covered here, this looks like a pocket short to me, but you wouldn't have suffered with all this adverse move against you. So I wouldn't mind an owl entry short, a scratch or a fractional loss here, and then a re-short here with still the idea of coming down to test the RL270 and then the VWAP. Here's Apple with an owl, the usual patterns. I won't drill that too much. Terrific shot from Yasik here with a 1.07R. What a terrific exit on the near side of the dragon. Very well done, just textbook. Here's a dragon pattern short, and then a scratch trade here. I think we got to look maybe somewhere down in this at the Z2 excursion. Maybe there's a way to improve. I think if you're thinking about a money management stop, we might have gotten a little bit more out of this than 0.08, but I still like the willingness to get out of the trade when it reverses. A good profit preservation. Here's a nice one from Yasik, and the DIA short. Here's the owl short, and see, I think this one does a better job of capturing the potential gains. The only thing we might say is this looks like a bottoming tail. It opened here, sold off to a Z3 excursion, and then we waited for this before we got out. So maybe in this tail there's a possibility, or at least in Z2. Once it gets to Z3, cash in Z2 a couple bars earlier might get us a little more of that gifted tail here. Just nice work from Jacek here. He's reduced his frequency of trading, but I just want you to notice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 winning days, 1 losing day out of the last 10. And he's measuring his targets and grinding out 1 brick at a time. And his weekly R's are doing really well. And just staying attention to detail. Very nice professional trade log. Making steady performance, which is what inspired our discussion about the Roman roads, 1 brick at a time. That's how you build the empire. Preparation is the key. It's not magic. Here's a hybrid frog entry. The only thing I will say on this one, from Yolanda, is a Z3 excursion. There's another Z3 excursion. I would like us to get more of that. If you get a Z3, don't wait for the far side of the dragon to get out. Maybe there's a way that we can get more of this. Taking a look at money management. Once you know what your average wins are in the hybrid frog, if you get a Z3 excursion that goes past the average win, maybe that's one where we can start cashing a little more of this. I like the pocket reentry. Maybe. This ain't bad. This is, again, if we are looking at money management exits, maybe we get a little, but this is all right. I like the short shot right here with the idea coming down to test the RL 270. I think the exit is slow on this one. I think if we're going to do an owl, then I think we got to get that. We got to get that here instead of in the midst of this runaway. In fact, the reason I say that is that if you are short here and it doesn't fail, if it finds support at the VWAP, right about here is where we've got to get the stop and then reversal, and now we start, we're going with the river, with the rising VWAP, with the rising dragon, and maybe stay in tune with the breathing of the market a little better. Another nice one from Yolanda here. A sideways quiet channel breakout, using this one as the execution stop and a position sizing stop below the VWAP. Very nicely managed. I like this, the Z3 excursion, and then not letting it come back below the dragon. That's where you start making these measurable improvements. So nicely done there. And I think that's everything we want to cover today. Yeah, so that's the last one for today. So today's topic, the Roman roads, preparation, not amazement. It's persistence, it's commitment to doing the work, to making those lasting roads 1 brick at a time, making micro improvements and checking for snug fit and no waste. So very well done. Good work continuing from the Euros. Nice work and in the chat room and good crosstalk. So well done, guys. Keep going.